Beginning August 2025, Moore County Schools will allow students in grades 6 through 12 to access generative AI products on their school devices. All Moore County Schools student-facing staff should view this video to understand what the guidance is, how to interpret the Allowable Use Chart, and how to implement the Moore County Schools guidelines in their classrooms. While these products will not be directly accessible to our students in grades K through 5, it is encouraged for teachers to demonstrate their use, when appropriate, with our younger learners, so they are familiar with the AI products as a tool. Let's start by explaining how we got here. ChatGPT was released in November of 2022. Since that time, we have watched machine learning, generative AI, and other large language model applications expand at an incredible rate, impacting education, the workplace, and life. The quick adoption rates and saturation of these tools into our daily lives make it clear that our students should know what this family of tools can do and how to use it. AI tools offer great opportunities for learning and professional outlets, but they will also come with both obvious and even not yet realized dangers if they're used in irresponsible ways. The AI guidelines for teachers and students that has been shared with you now is aligned with Moore County Schools Board Policy 3225, 4312, 7320. The acceptable use of technology and electronic media is available on our website for further review. But for now, I'll highlight some relevant excerpts. In the introduction, the policy states, the board provides its students and staff access to a variety of technological resources. These resources should provide opportunities to enhance learning, appeal to different learning styles, and improve communication within the school community and with the larger global community, and achieve the educational goals established by the board. It goes on to state, the board intends that students and employees benefit from these resources while remaining within the bounds of safe, legal, and responsible use. So then, Moore County Schools wants to introduce our students to impactful tools and let them practice in a supervised space so that they're prepared for a future where these applications will be ubiquitous. However, Moore County Schools does not want AI or any other technology tool to undermine instruction, our teachers, or especially our students growing and learning in our classrooms. With those policies and principles in mind, the digital learning team convened the first MCS AI teacher assembly to review and consult on what will become the Moore County's student and teacher AI guidelines. Those include the grade band AI guidelines, as well as the generative AI allowable use scale that you're going to post in your classroom. We'll talk about each of those resources briefly, and then they'll be available for you for closer examination beyond the introductory video. First, the recommended student AI literacy timeline. In grades PK through 5, students should learn about AI in theory and observe the teacher using and modeling the tools used. In grades 6 through 8, that expands. Students should use the tools firsthand, but still under the supervision of their teacher. For instance, a middle grades ELA teacher may direct students to input their original writing into Gemini. Then as a class, we'll prompt Gemini to give recommendations to make the writing either more concise or more persuasive. We'll look at the suggestions and we'll agree or disagree if they made it better. We'll explain our thinking in our own writing. Grades 9 through 12, that expands again. They should have more exposure to working directly with the tools across many contexts to practice the skills. In all grade levels, though, teachers should be reinforcing academic integrity, digital citizenship, legal and responsible use. Students should know that AI is fallible. Critical thinking has to be incorporated into all aspects of use and life in the 21st century. Next, we'll look at the generative AI allowable use scale. This graphic will be the uniform way that MCS teachers communicate what level of AI support will be allowed to students on any given assignment. You should ensure that you have a firm understanding of what is allowed at each level so that you can communicate accurately with your students and parents on any given assignment. Looking in the far left column of the chart, I see a total of 9 items. The top 6 items are aids that students may have access to on any given assignment. The bottom 3 items in that column deal with what a student would need to turn in to document the use or how they used AI for any of those given allowances. That's why the bottom of this chart you'll see is labeled Student Disclosures Required. Now that we have that understood, we can look up at the top and see the scale score of 0 to 4. Then for any given number, I can look down and using the green checks or the red X's, I can tell what is allowed, what is not allowed, and what is required from the students to turn in when they turn in their assignment. Before we move on, we should take a minute and understand a few more points about this chart. First, the levels are not meant to be aligned to certain grades, nor should they be seen as a ladder to advance through with your students. This chart is designed to be a communication tool so that you, your students, and parents all have a shared understanding of what is allowable and what is not allowable. Next, it should be displayed in all Moore County Schools 6 through 12 classrooms. Alternative scales should not be used. Consistent terminology across classrooms, schools, and the district will help students and parents understand what is expected and will reduce misunderstandings. Students have been made aware that the default level for all AI usage is 0 unless their teacher explicitly states otherwise. With that said, it is recommended that you affirm that in each of your courses. It is always the teacher's option to allow or not allow AI use of any kind on an individual assignment, but make sure that you state it clearly to make sure your intention is known. You can learn more about each level and get a better understanding of what those aids are by reading the AI Guidance document. There you'll find a description of what each category of help on the left hand means. I would like to point out that editing and proofreading in this context should not be read to include things like normal spell check that you might find in Google Docs or Microsoft Word products. Now let's shift to which products students are going to have access to in grades 6 through 12. There are hundreds or even thousands of AI-powered products and platforms in the market today. Some are generalized, large format tools, and some target very specific tasks. The Moore County Schools digital learning team won't be in the practice of comparing or ranking the hundreds of niche products as they become available in the market, allowing some and barring others for students. Instead, Moore County Schools is focused on allowing a small number of safe tools that offer wide use cases. Large format tools require students to craft their prompts, teaching that valuable skill in the process. This year, Moore County Schools will allow 2 products for their students. The first, Google Gemini. This is Google's multimodal large language model. It can complete all sorts of tasks based on prompts that the user enters. Gemini is not a web browser for simple question and answers. It's a creative thought partner or a critical reviewer as needed for writing. It can generate images or short videos to include in your presentations. It can summarize, change the lexile level of, or translate long passages for you or your learners. And that's just a few of the things you can do. You were acquainted with this during the teacher-facing AI training in the spring of 2025. Google offers videos for training on demand, and DIFs can offer updates and refresher training by request. The next product is Notebook LM. This is a newer tool, still from Google's Gemini AI model. Notebook LM is a powerful tool to help you and your students learn, conceptualize information, and make connections across a variety of sources. It'll produce visual mind maps of the conceptual and thematic connections between multiple resources, including PDFs, videos, slide decks, or more. For your auditory learners, it can produce a podcast-style MP3 to explain one resource or, again, discuss the connections between multiple resources. Imagine getting on your treadmill and listening to a podcast instead of reading pages and pages of text or emails. Like Gemini, there are a growing number of resources available for your training, and the DIF team can help by request as well as you learn about Notebook LM. So why these 2 products out of the hundreds or even thousands available? First, they're incredibly powerful and offer an exceptionally wide range of uses. Nearly anything you can produce in your favorite subtool can be accomplished just as well with these tools. Second, being Google products available in our EDU workspace account, Google agrees not to train their model on our users or our users' inputs because privacy matters. Third, as a Google EDU product, they enjoy significantly more financial resources and continual improvement. It is very unlikely that they could discontinue these platforms over time. Lastly, By removing the prompt assistance offered by some of the other tools, our students will learn to prompt effectively, developing that skill and adaptability across similar tools in the future. A couple of notes here about the students versus teacher tools. First, this plan is to reduce the amount of tools available to students. It is not intended to be a limiting factor for teachers. Next, tools may be added or removed over time for students at the recommendation of the MCS AI Teacher Assembly, the digital learning team, or if privacy-related concerns necessitate a move. Additions would only be conducted at the beginning of the school year or the semester term with prior teacher notification. Productivity and creation tools with embedded AI elements such as Canva are also not restricted by this if they're already in use in our district. Now we're going to transition and talk about student misuse or suspected misuse of AI products. Moore County Schools Board Policy 3225, 4312, 7320 goes on to give direction as to what to do when students misuse or overuse technology resources, including AI. Section C1 says that responsible use of school system technology resources is use that is ethical, respectful, academically honest, and supportive of student learning. Section C2 goes on, plagiarism of internet resources will be treated in the same manner as any other incidents of plagiarism, as stated in the Code of Student Conduct. But determining how to document and deal with instances of suspected AI misconduct are school-based decisions. Like all processes, they should be normed, communicated, and enforced consistently throughout the building. A teacher's best proof will be a desk-cleared, pencil and paper writing sample early in the semester to gauge a student's unaided ability level. Keep these on file in case you think you need them. Other evidence might include class-wise reports, Google document history, or other pieces of evidence. One more note here is that products advertised as AI checkers are wrong nearly as often as they are correct. An AI checker score might be used as an indicator of misconduct, but should never be cited as proof of AI misuse. Thanks for reviewing this MCS AI training for fall of 2025. Your next steps are to review the guidance document, including the recommended student AI literacy timeline or the grade band document, and the generative AI acceptable use scale with those expanded definitions explaining what the individual things you can allow are. Next, talk to your PLT or look at your own lessons and see where you'd be willing to let students explore some generative AI alongside of you or on their own. Teachers and staff should review and affirm academic integrity documentation and reporting policies to ensure mutual understanding, enforcement, and consequences. Thank you for your attention. Have a great school year.